I'm so glad to see all of you. How many of you are here at the UN for the first time? Ooh, we've got some newcomers. Welcome very much. Welcome to Goals Lounge. I'm delighted to be celebrating International Jazz Day with a room filled with extraordinary artists, young talents, and jazz lovers, myself included. Last month, many of you were with us to highlight women in jazz, and tonight we're all about the power of music and communities. It's a reminder that jazz is more than music. It is a unifying language across generations and cultures. This evening celebrates that spirit through both captivating conversations and a very special live performance. My sincere thanks to WBGO and Jazz House Kids for working with us to create a shared rhythm for this evening. It's now my great pleasure to invite to the stage Courtney Rattray, Chef de Cabinet to the United Nations Secretary General, and a true jazz enthusiast. CDC.
Well, good evening, friends, colleagues. It's a real pleasure for me to be with you on this occasion of International Jazz Day. Music has long been a part of the United Nations story. It is more than art. It is a form of diplomacy, dare I say. Music opens doors where words sometimes cannot. It creates space for listening, for dialogue, and for building bridges. Our convening this evening is part of a global celebration with over 200 events taking place, quite all around the world. I'd like to recognize our UNESCO colleagues who are partnering with the Herbie Hancock Institute of Jazz to bring the jazz community together for the 15th International Day of Celebration in Chicago. Behind this milestone is the message that culture is not an accessory to development. It is a driver of connection and inclusion. Jazz in many ways embodies the values at the heart of the United Nations. It is grounded in respect, in the ability to listen deeply to one another. It thrives on diversity, different voices, different traditions, coming together to create something powerful. There is also an aspect of jazz that mirrors the journey towards sustainable development. It is collaborative, adaptive. Let me read that again. It is collaborative, adaptive, and rooted in listening, qualities that are essential as we work towards a more just and a more resilient world. Like the SDGs, it calls on us to work together across cultures, disciplines, and generations, and at times to improvise and to be creative. The theme of the event tonight, Intergenerational Dialogue, reminds us that jazz is passed on from mentors to students, from one generation to the next. It evolves, it adapts, but it never loses its essence. Jazz has always resonated deeply with me, which is why I'm pleased to be here tonight, where we join in a shared global rhythm. Because music, at its heart, is what connects us. And that is why the world needs jazz, now more than ever before. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CDC, and for those really heartfelt remarks. And now it's my pleasure to welcome Melissa Walker, founder and president of Jazz House Kids, and one of our newest members of the UN Fashion and Lifestyle Network. We're very incredibly proud to have your organization be part of our community. And now I'm turning it over to you, Melissa. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to His Excellency, Earl Courtney Rattray. Thank you so very much for those remarks. And to our Executive Director of the UN Office for Partnership, Anne-Marie, thank you so very much. It is an honor and a distinct privilege to collaborate with the Office for this auspicious occasion of the 15th Annual International Jazz Day, declared by UNESCO in 2011. And I'm delighted to be here with you along with our partner, WBG Radio, and CEO and President, Steve Williams. Thank you so very much. Jazz House Kids could not be more thrilled to curate this program. And we are now in our 24th year, and we have led transformative change in arts education, providing access, learning, career development, and community building. And that is why, and that is what we have in store for you this evening, an intergenerational concert and conversation, highlighting shared influences, evolving perspectives, and the role of mentorship in sustaining the art form of jazz. At this time for our conversation, I'd like to introduce two of our emerging musicians, and then Ava McCune. She is a vocalist and a pianist. She is in her junior year and has been a part of the Jazz House program for the last 5 years. Ava is not only a stellar musician, but an exemplary academic student. And Desmond Diehl on guitar, a senior at Jazz House and one of our more advanced musicians in our pre-college academy. Desmond will be graduating in the next few months and is sought after by several of top conservatories around the country. And joining them will be Mathis, Picard, our moderator for our conversation. Mathis, French Malagasy pianist, composer, bandleader. He blends styles of jazz and classical influences have shaped by his multicultural background. A lifelong musician who began playing at the age of 3. He centers his work on music in the healing power and shares that vision through solo, trio, and his orchestral works and projects. And last but not least, drummer and composer, Mr. Billy Hart. An NEA jazz master, a true jazz icon, and one of the most in-demand drummers of his generation, known for moving seamlessly across straight-ahead jazz, avant-garde, and even pop with an extensive recording career, a list of who's who as a leader and as a sideman, and in 2022, Mr. Hart was named NEA Jazz Master. And he's been performing, and beyond his performing career, a lifelong educator at top conservatories, and he is an author, he is a friend of WBGO, he is a friend of Jazz House Kids, and now he's a friend of the United Nations. So Mathis, take it away, and we'll bring up Ava, Desmond, and we'll bring up Mr. Billy Hart.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Roy.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Good. Thank you to Melissa. Thank you to Ava, Desmond, and Mr. Billy Hart. Today, we are celebrating jazz music on International Jazz Day. And as was said, I am from France. My father is French, and my mother is from Madagascar. And when I was thinking about what to share about what this music means to me, I came up with 3 points. The first one is that it's taught me to look deep within myself and find myself as an individual in my roots, but also what that means to be part of a community. So it's an inwards and an outwards journey. And because I'm from France and I moved over to the UK and I lived also in Scotland and then eventually to the United States, it also served as a way for me to learn about the history of the United States, because I fell in love with the creators and the genius of this music. And finally, I think what it really did for me is to show me the importance of tradition and lineage, and the importance of looking at everything as a connected entity, like a tree, right? So, Desmond, speaking of jazz, how has it influenced you, and what kind of impact has it had on your life?
Well, the way it's influenced me, it's really taught me to embrace the uncertainty, you know, and to really take risks in my playing and embrace those risks, because and really that's like what it's really done for me, and to like, and it's really made me confident in trying new things, and also really like listening to other people, to like the musicians I'm playing with, because that's like one of the most important things about playing this type of music, is that you have to really be like listening and like responding to in the moment, because that's really like, because jazz is about the power of the moment, you know, and you have to be and you know, you use your creativity to kind of like to do those kinds of things and really push the music forward, and with everyone else, you know, you're contributing to something just beautiful. So I think that's really what's special about it, and that's really what it's like done for me, is to really, you know, what it's really done for me is to stop thinking about everything from a guitar perspective, you know, from like this perspective of a guitarist, and think about things from a musical perspective, you know, like really, and that's because that's the thing that I didn't really have together before playing jazz. You know, I just wanted to play, you know, fast and, you know, do the most impressive things on guitar. But like playing this music has taught me that it's way more than that. You know, it's about, you know, lifting each other up.
You're playing with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you said that you started, you joined the Jazz House program, what, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
You got into jazz during COVID?
Yeah, during COVID, yeah.
And same for me, in terms of programs have helped me meet new people and be part of communities. And I wanted to know, while you were at Jazz House Kids, what kind of situations were you coming across, and how did it help you? I know you were saying to listen better, but are there specific classes that taught you to be a better musician, in your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. It mostly came from my experience in being like in small ensembles. So like when I first went to Jazz House, I think the first small ensemble I was in was an organ ensemble led by Rodham Schwartz. Oh, yeah. And that really taught me like the importance of, really that kind of exposed me to the relationship that guitar and organ have in jazz, you know, because there's a long lineage of, you know, of that kind of like organ guitar trios in this music. And it really taught me, it really helped me a lot as a musician, because it really helped me develop more of my comping skills behind an organist, and knowing how I can like elevate the other like musicians in the band with my comping.
Do you get to accompany singers too?
Yeah.
Have you accompanied Ava before?
I don't think, have I?
Probably in the jazz house.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Right, we're playing with so many people, but in the Jazz House Big Band, I think I've sang with them a few times, so it's possible.
It's possible
when
to
you're
be
at Jazz House, you play with so many different people, and every kid gets in contact and plays with each other at least once.
Yeah.
So there's probably.
But really, to answer your question,
nice.
I really learned that through, like, you know, like you said, like playing with other people. But really, my small ensembles have probably done the most in like helping me develop those kind of fundamental skills, you know.
So the word is that you got into every school in the United States. Right? But you've made a decision, right?
Yeah, I'm going to Juilliard.
Hey! We have Dr. Aaron Flagg here, the director of Juilliard here, so you must be very happy.
I was watching him to make sure.
Yeah, I know.
You probably had like a sniper, you know, like on me, you know, to make sure I didn't say anything.
This
wrong
is I also went to Juilliard, and it's a wonderful place where, honestly, the friendships I've made there are they stay with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know. And are you from New York?
I'm from Basket Ridge, New Jersey, which is like, it's near like the Morristown area, Basket Ridge. So it's like an hour away from here.
Have you spent much time in the city?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been going here. I go here like a lot because I have a few of my guitar teachers. Yeah, one of my guitar teachers lives in Brooklyn, and I go here a lot. You know, I see shows. You know, hang out. I get called for gigs in the city. You know, and I have like Jazz House performances and stuff. So I'm here pretty often. Yeah.
Great. Okay, then one little last question. What do you hope? And I know you're early on in your journey. How do you hope to contribute to the music?
Really to give back what really give back to the community, and by trying to be a source of like wisdom for like other younger like musicians, and really the way to I plan on giving back to it is just really being out on the scene and really surrounding myself with like the people I want to be surrounded by, other great people and other great musicians. Okay. And I think that's really it, just like really taking taking advantage of like the music scene here, and continuing to play, because I think that's really the best way to give back to it, and just having a deep passion for it is giving back to it too.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ava, you are a singer and a vocalist. Well, yes, and a pianist and an instrumentalist. Okay, all right. And you're part of an intergenerational family.
Yes.
Right? You have a lot of musical talent. Your sister and your brother, they also play. And of course, your father, Brendan McCune, is an important piano player. And I wanted to know, growing up in this musical household, observing your father putting people together with the music, how has it informed you of the social impact and possibilities of this music?
Yeah, well, I mean, growing up and having my mother as an opera singer and my father as a jazz pianist, but also a classical pianist, but also he plays every instrument, is like, it's an incredibly wholesome experience that opens me up to so many different opportunities within music to experience it. So my experiences during the COVID and during being in quarantine for an entire year, we would sit and we would learn choral charts together, like jazz choral charts, and we would learn take 6 arrangements. Every day we would get through a different page together. And it brings back
Does
a lot
everyone
of...
sing?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing. And we also grew up within this gospel and church background, because he's always the minister of music and the choir director for all the churches. So we grew up learning how to make music with each other.
Yeah.
And so seeing my father in the house just randomly with different musicians that are like these Grammy award-winning musicians, I'll come downstairs one day and be like, why is Bruce Williams just in the living room? He's just playing there. I'm coming down in my pajamas to do laundry. No. But it taught me a lot about how jazz is a democratic art form. So when they're rehearsing in the living room or wherever they are, they might just stop and somebody will say, nah, I don't like that, let's do it this way. Or, hey, I'll play this line and like, can you pick it up? And that taught me that jazz is conversation, and jazz is structured in such a way that everybody's voice gets to be heard. Everybody gets to express themselves. Even if you're not soloing, as a pianist, you're always comping behind someone, so you are still influencing what they say, and what they play influences how you play back to them. And you learn that different people require different kinds of comping, which is akin to how different people require different kinds of social interaction. So it actually taught me a lot about social interactions and communicating in general.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And yeah, you please. Yeah. It is absolutely a conversation. And I feel like right now we're having a musical conversation, and we're adjusting our tempo to each other and the content of what we're saying, and it's the same thing. And the beautiful thing is, I think also in your family, there's sort of this interdisciplinary aspect, right? So your sister studies biochemistry and anthropology at the Smith College, right? And your father also, he brings different ministries of dance and music together. And you are doing an internship in law this summer.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Thank you.
That's really wonderful. My question is how do you kind of see bringing that together as you move forward? Your academia, because you're a brilliant student and a brilliant musician. So how does that come together?
Yeah, I find that one always ends up informing the other. And so, for example, in jazz has a history. It has a past. There are specific groups that make contributions to jazz that come from their struggles and that come from their examples of struggles in human rights and in having democracy and having their voices heard. And so one always informs the other. And that's how jazz informs history, but history also informs jazz. in that this jazz that we play informs and replicates. It's a microcosm of how the world functions and how it should function. If you're in a jazz group and the band leader is just giving directions all the time and they're not listening to you, it's going to cause conflict. Like how in the real world, when people don't listen to each other and we don't have consensus and people aren't open to conversation, we can't function and we can't make global music and we can't have connections. And so I find that it helps that growing up, my parents didn't teach my siblings and I that we should be musicians or that we should be jazz musicians, that I should be a singer. No, it was always, we're a musical family, so music is a form of love and bonding for us, but also we're very engaged in like activism. We're engaged in politics. We love talking about like the state of the world, and we love talking about artwork and paintings and drawing. And so all of those things come together, and jazz is just a means of expressing it.
You're gonna get to exercise. Yeah, and we could keep clapping. You're gonna get to exercise that leadership pretty soon because you won the talent contest for Jazz House Kids. Clap, please. And you're gonna perform at the opening act at the Montclair Jazz Festival, which is programmed by Jazz House Kids, which is the biggest festival, outdoor festival in the region, right? Come on. So you're gonna lead a band. So you're gonna get to exercise this talent and this observation you have of working with people. What are you gonna play? Are you gonna play your own music? Are you gonna cover some stuff? What do you think?
I mean, mainly covering, because I'm still learning a lot about arranging and making up my own charts. It's incredibly harder than it seems. Like coming from, I see my dad just writing charts, and then I try it, and I'm like, why is it so difficult? So I'm not performing my own stuff. But in honoring the legacy of jazz, I know last month, or yeah, pretty recently, they met for the Women's Day of Jazz and for celebrating women in jazz. And as a singer and a pianist who's also a young woman, I think it's important that I represent the legacy of jazz pianists who are also singers. Many people don't know this, but Sarah Vaughan was a killer pianist. She just chose singing. We know that Carmen McRae played piano amazingly. We all know about Shirley Horn. And it's important for me to honor their legacies as somebody who's pursuing something that's similar to what they do. So I've been getting a lot into having my quintet listen to Shirley Horn. I'm like, you gotta listen to this album. You gotta listen to Betty Carter. You have to listen to all these great bebop singers and all that they bring. So I think that's what I'm gonna focus on. I still haven't picked a set list, so I'm open to suggestions.
Everyone, you'll get to hear her in a minute after our conversation. Thank you, Ava. And finally, in our panel, we have Mr. Billy Hart, NEA Jazz Master, and legend. You have recorded a lot of music, and I spent a lot of time researching your art. A lot of philosophical and spiritual titles of your albums between Amethyst and Oceans of Time and Tribe of Ghosts. And I just wanted to know, there's this one book that you wrote called Oceans of Time, which is also your album. And it's an autobiography with interviews with Mr. Ethan Iverson over here. Shout out. A great, influential pianist, very inspiring. There's a quote, and so you have worked with so many people for so long, whether it's in your groups or in other people's groups. These names include Pharoah Sanders, Shirley Horn, Wes Montgomery, Jimmy Smith. And the quote is, "One needs to accompany the world the way they accompany a musical group." And I thought that was an interesting statement. And I was wondering if maybe you could share with us what that means to you of a lifetime of accompanying groups.
That's your question.
Oh, yeah, opening question.
Well, I think that one of the lessons it's taught me is that that what you give is what you receive. And that has encouraged me consistently through my 85 years to continue encouraging other people, because it's been returned to me 1,000-fold. That's all I can think to say at the moment. I'm just listening to this beautiful young lady speak, and she mentioned her father, whom I'm a big fan of myself. So I'm already encouraged again. Just hearing her speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hopeful and encouraging, and you you're a teacher too, and you learn from your students. The title Oceans of Time, I wanted to know if because you have an album of the same title, does it relate to what you call multi-directional music?
That's a question. Yes, it does. And by the way, multi-directional is yet another recording that I'm part of. But the actual story of Oceans of Time is because when I used to play as a young kid, as a, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, my mother would go to the playground to get me to come home for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But she would have a whistle, and she would whistle a certain note or notes. And I could tell that she was calling me, even though it was interrupting me. But then my father would do the same thing, except he had an entirely different song. And it was another kind of interruption. But I got used to being called to come in from play to eat or to go to bed. So discussing that with some of my friends over the years, I would share their whistle or their song, and then I got to the point where I enjoyed singing their notes to the point where I said, "Wow, I'd like to record this," and that's what I did.
For a lifetime.
Yes, and somehow, now that I've had the help of one of my best friends, Ethan Iverson, I guess you could say he composed a biography of me, and we named it Oceans of Time.
Yeah, it's a really amazing book. And for me as a student of music and life, it's full of incredible references of music to check out and understanding the history, but also for me a look into your philosophy of life. For example, you mentioned you were on the road. I'm on the road a lot, and I have to leave my wife in New York City, and it gets very lonely. And there are times where you have to start, one lesson you gave is like, I'm going to start smiling at people. And I think that goes well with what you give is how you receive it. So if you're actively trying to give a smile, even though you're feeling lonely, you're going to get that energy back. And it's full of those kind of anecdotes that I thought was really inspiring. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah. There's another aspect of the book we're talking about the universality of the music, and you talk about universal rhythm. And specifically, I was wondering if you could teach us very shortly what you understand of each limb of a drummer. So the cymbal, the snare drum, and the bass drum represent a particular lineage. Would you mind sharing a few things about the snare drum, the bass drum, and the cymbal for us as your students?
How do you suggest that, attempt that?
Well, let's start with the bass drum. Specifically talking about universality, you'd mentioned, because obviously the bass drum, in terms of jazz music, there's a certain beat that came from New Orleans, but as it moved to Kansas City, there's a different type of feeling that came with it. And you suggested that there's even, with the 4 beats on the floor, a reference to the Native American drum. And I'd never really considered that until I read that, and I thought that was really interesting.
Would you like me to walk over to the drums?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Please.
Now?
Please, can we? We would love that.
We would love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You mentioned Shirley Horn. And in many interviews, you say that Shirley Horn, you still think about her in the way she's taught you about how to play music and drums. How is that? In what kind of way do you mean that?
Well, first of all, my grandmother was a concert pianist, and she was an accompanist. She was, see, how can I put this? She was one of Marian Anderson's first accompanists.
Okay.
And so I used to try to sing like she sang, and I would go around and annoy a lot of people by doing that. But over periods, large periods of time, I ended up learning to perform on the drum set, a multiple percussion drum set, and I finally got a chance to accompany other people. And the first time I tried to do that, I didn't do very well. So I was kind of depressed about it. And I was walking away to try to get away from the other people that I might have noticed that I wasn't as good as I would have liked to have been. And this lady came up behind me and said, you know, it wasn't all your fault. It takes three of us to make a rhythm section. And it turned out that was the way I met Shirley Horn. So that encouraged me to continue. And as I did continue, I began to listen to the way she sang, and I could relate that to Marian Anderson's singing.
Wow.
And I was encouraged by her genius, her taste, her rhapsodious way of singing. And it just encouraged me. It still encourages me. Thank you again for asking.
Yeah. I think in the spirit of encouragement, encouraging us as young musicians, as a final statement, what is your message to the next generation of musicians as encouragement?
Is to, I guess, is to study themselves, of course, and if they find something that they like, that they encourage other performers or other people they see to tell them how much you have been enlightened by them. And that way encourages the person you've been listening to. And that is returned by the gift they give back to you for being encouraged in that way.
Master Billy Hart, everyone. Thank you.
I guess they're ready for me. Okay. I mean, this is an extraordinary assemblage of minds and bodies and expressions, and I want to thank all of you for taking the time to share your energy with us today. Man, you said something, used the word hope, and it reminded me of some words I read in a book once. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And after today, you have to have faith in humanity, the power of jazz music to propel lives and to create wonderful situations for all of us. Hope for the future in the embodiment of the future that we see here, and the evidence of the things that we cannot see that lie ahead for us in the future. And thank you, Master Billy, for everything that you have given us to move towards that future with confidence and with strength. We are deeply indebted to you, my brother, for everything that you have done. Please don't forget that. Okay? Okay. I would also like to say the future of the relationship, a magnificent partnership between the UN, Jazz House Kids, and WBGO bodes well. In the past 30 days, we have done 2 extraordinary events that in many cases takes years to plan. And those of us who worked at the UN, by the way, this is a special moment for me. I worked here 20 years ago. And when I left here 20 years ago, there was a sinking feeling that I was leaving something really, truly special. And so I cannot express, the words just aren't there to tell you how much I am full of a sense of accomplishment by being able to come back here and share what we do with you. So thank you, UN, thank you, Jazz House Kids, for giving us this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to all of the marvelous things that we will do together in the future. Okay? Thank you.